for today, week 3. Write a greater than, less than, or equal to sign to make the statement true. 17,987, 17,877. When I look at the first two places, I see 17 in each. So they each start with 17,000, and that will not help me decide which is greater than or less than the other. The next place, in the hundreds place, there's a 9 in the first number and an 8 in the second number. Because 9 hundreds are greater than 8 hundreds, the first number would be the larger number. So that reads 17,987 is greater than 17,877. For the next set, remember that you could count by 5 20 times, but with equations like this, you can multiply the two numbers that are not a 0, which are 2 times 5 equals 10, and then there is 1 0, so 1 0 could be added, and we learned that shortcut. So that equals 100. 2 times 6 equals 12, and 1 more 0 creates the number 120. 2 times 7 equals 14. 1 0 creates the number 140. Round each number to the nearest 10, then add. So we need to round our numbers first, and the numbers that we are rounding are 34 and 81. When you look at the number 34 and you're thinking about rounding to the nearest tens, 34 would be in between 30 and 40, with the middle point being 35. Our number 34 is in between 30 and 35, which means it's closer to this end and would round to 30. The other number is 81. On a number line, 81 is between 80 and 90, with the middle point or the midpoint being 85. 81 is between 80 and 85, or these 2 points, which means it's closer to 80 and would round down to 80. The next step is to add 30 plus 80 equals 110. So 34 plus 81 is about 110. List the factors of 12. Is this number prime or composite? The first step is to list the factors of 12. So these are any equations where 12 is the product. If you start with the number 1, you can multiply 1 times 12, and that equals 12. With the number 2, you can multiply 2 times 6, and that equals 12. What number times 3 equals 12? 4. 3 times 4 equals 12. Because we already have a 4 in this equation, this following equation, if we were following this pattern by ones here, we would say 4 and multiply times 3, but we already have that pair of factors, so we won't repeat that. There is not a number I can multiply times 5 and equal 12. And for 6, we already have that. It's the 6 and the 2. And there are no greater numbers that could be multiplied to equal 12. So the factors are the numbers that you multiply together to get 12. In this case, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. That means the number 12 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 factors. Our question asks, is this number prime or composite? If a number is prime, it only has two factors, 1 and itself. So in this case, it would be just 1 and 12. But as you can see, there are other ways you can multiply and get 12, which means 12 has more than two factors and is a composite number. Day 2. Write the number word as a number. 600,008. The first part I see is 600. Remember when you're reading, if there's a comma in the word and you are past the hundreds place, that's where you would say thousand, so that creates 600,008. But 8 goes in the ones place. And there's nothing after the thousand and before the 8, which means there are no hundreds or tens. So the number would look like this, 600,008. Write the multiplication sentence shown by the picture. So we have an array, and there's 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows. So the first factor is 3. And then if we count the columns, there's 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns. So the second factor is 3. And this equation shows, or this drawing shows the equation, 3 times 3 equals 9. And if you were to check that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's a total of 9. 584 plus 381. To add these, you would stack them on top of one another and begin with your ones place. 4 plus 1 equals 5. 8 plus 8 equals 16. 5 plus 3 is 8, and that one more makes 9. 965. Start at 125. Create a pattern that subtracts 6 from each number and stop when you have 5 numbers. So if we're beginning at 125 and we want to subtract 6, when you look at it this way, you may think I'm going to need to regroup and change some numbers around, but let's think about it mentally. If I'm at 125 and I need to go backwards 6, if I go backwards 5, that puts me at 120. I already went backwards 5. I only need to go backwards 1 more to get to subtracting 6. So if I'm at 120 and I go backwards 1 more time, that puts me at 119. So the first number of this pattern would be 119. Now I'm going to subtract 6 again. In this case, there wouldn't need to be any regrouping. I would have 3 left in my ones place and still a 1 in the tens and hundreds, which is the number 113. Now I'm at 113 and need to subtract 6. Again, there would be a lot of regrouping going on if I did it with the standard algorithm. Let's think if we're at 113 and we subtract 3. That would put us at 110. We've already subtracted 3, so we just need to subtract 3 more. 110 minus 3 would put us at 107, because 10 minus 3 is that 7, and we're still in the 100s. So our next number in the pattern would be 107. Now for this next one, 107 minus 6. Just think, if you're at 7 and you go back 6, that's 1. So we are now at 101. And lastly, if we are at 101, again, we could subtract 6 with the standard algorithm, but there would be a lot of regrouping. So let's think about it in parts or mentally. If we're at 101 and we go back just 101 minus 1, that would put us at just 100, or exactly 100. Now we've gone back 1. In order to go back 6, we need to go back 5 more. So 100 minus 5 would put us at 95. So the fifth term is 95. And we know to stop here because it says stop when you have 5 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Day 3. 1,102 plus 6,206. Starting with the ones place, 2 plus 6 equals 8. 0 and 0 is still 0. 1 plus 2 equals 3. And 1 plus 6 equals 7. 7,308. Write a related multiplication fact. So we know it has to be multiplication. If it's related, that means it's in the same fact family, and the same 3 numbers will be used. I can switch the order of the 2 factors, 3 and 5, to create 5 times 3, and the product is 15. Addison is reading a book that is 584 pages long. She read 171 pages on Saturday and 207 pages on Sunday. She finished the book on Monday. How many pages did she read on Monday? So this is where we have part, whole, but there's actually 3 parts here. There's the whole would be the total number of pages. And the total is 584. The parts are the different days that she read the book, or the different days she broke up the pages into. So we've got Saturday, and I'll abbreviate or shorten it. So Saturday, she read 171 pages. Sunday, she read 207 pages. The question is, how many did she read on Monday? She read the remaining pages, or the rest of the pages, on Monday. So if you think about it like a picture, we've got from the beginning to the end, the total of the book, or the whole book, is 584. And it's broken up into 3 days. We've got Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We know Saturday's value is 171. We know Sunday's value, she read 207 pages. We need to figure out X, or this missing number, for Monday. If we know the total is 584, we can take away the first 2 days, and the part left will be Monday. The easiest, or in my mind the easiest, because we don't have to subtract as much, would be to go ahead and combine Saturday and Sunday, which would be adding those together, so we can just take them away at the same time. So first, let's add those 2 numbers. 1 plus 7 is 8. 7 plus 0 is 7. And 1 plus 2 is 3. So these 2 numbers together make 378. Now what we're going to do is take all of that part, which we just decided, or we just figured out, is 378, and we're going to take it away or subtract it, so make it like it's not there. And then the part left, or the number left, will represent the missing part for Monday. So start with our total, 584. Subtract the part that we do know, which we could do it one at a time, but we put them together at 378. And we're going to subtract. 4 minus 8 we cannot do. So we'll go to the tens place, and there are 8 tens. If we take one away, that leaves 7 tens. We are bringing 10 back to the ones place, and there's already 4 there. If you combine those two, the 10 you bring over and the 4 that's already there, you now have 14 in your ones place. 14 minus 8 equals 6. 7 minus 7 equals 0. 5 minus 3 equals 2. The remaining part for Monday is 206. Remember, you can check yourself by plugging in 206 and adding those 3 together. When I add these numbers in the ones place, I see a 7 and then I see 6 and 1. If I combine the 6 and the 1, that creates 7, and then another 7 doubles that, which makes 14. 1 plus 7 equals 8. 2 plus 2 is 4, and 1 more equals 5. 584, 584. So to answer the question, the missing amount, or the part that was read on Monday, would be 206 pages. Next, we have 500,000 divided by 50,000, which could seem a little scary, but it's not, I promise. Remember that the opposite of division is multiplication. So something times 50,000 equals 500,000. So let's look at it that way. Something times 50,000 equals 500,000. Remember the discovery we made when we realized 4 times 10 equals 40. 9 times 10 equals 90. We realized that when you multiply times 10, you just take your first number and it adds 1 0. So we've got the number we're multiplying by and another 0. So let's try 10 for this equation. If we take the 1 times the 50,000, that would be the 50 and the 3 zeros. And then if you have one more 0, that would be the last 0 on the end there. So the answer to this equation is 10. 500,000 divided by 50,000 equals 10. Round 16,311 to the nearest thousand. So if we're looking at the thousands place, this number would be in between 16,000 and 17,000, with the middle point being 16,500. Our number, 16,311, is in between 16,000 and 16,500, which means it's closer to 16,000 and would round down to 16,000. $44 plus 15. If I were to combine my ones, 5 and 4, that creates 9 in the ones place. 1 and 4 in the tens place together makes 5 tens. So that would equal 59. If I'm at 82 and I want to count back 30, I can count by 10 3 times. So I would be at 82. Count back by 10 once is 72. Count back by 10 again, 62. And one more time is 52. 82 minus 30 is 52. All right, 2 times 9. 2 times 9 equals 18. If 2 times 9 equals 18, then 9 times 2 also equals 18. 8 times 2 equals 16. Write a greater than, less than, or equal to sign to make the statement true. 626 and 616. So if you look at the hundreds place, they are both in the 600s, so that cannot help me decide which is greater or less. Looking at the tens place, there's a 2 and a 1. 2 tens is greater than 1 10. So this would say 626 is greater than 616.